शब्द में कितना सुख है, राम में रम कर देखो। एक शब्द में कितना सुख है, राम में रम कर देखो। सब देखोगे अंतर मन में, राम को क्षण भर देखो। सब में राम ही राम।
सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। Together we'll chant Bhagavad Gita, chapter 14, verses 11 to 20.
सर्वद्वारेषु देहेऽस्मिन् प्रकाश उपजायते ज्ञानं यदा तदा विद्यात् विवृद्धं सत्त्वमित्युत लोभः प्रवृत्तिरारम्भः कर्मणामशमस्पृहा रजस्येतानि जायन्ते विवृद्धे भरतर्षभ अप्रकाशो प्रवृत्तिश्च प्रमादो मोह एव च तमस्येतानि जायन्ते विवृद्धे कुरु नन्दन यदा सत्त्वे प्रवृद्धे तु प्रलयं याति देहभृत् तदोत्तमविदां लोकान् अमलान् प्रतिपद्यते रजसि प्रलयं गत्वा कर्मसङ्गिषु जायते तथा प्रलीनस्तमसि मूढयोनिषु जायते कर्मणः सुकृतस्याहुः सात्विकं निर्मलं फलम् रजसस्तु फलं दुःखम् अज्ञानं तमसः फलम् सत्त्वात् संजायते ज्ञानं रजसो लोभ एव च प्रमादमोहौ तमसः भवतो ज्ञानमेव च ऊर्ध्वं गच्छन्ति सत्त्वस्ताः मध्ये तिष्ठन्ति राजसाः जघन्यगुणवृत्तिस्थाः अधो गच्छन्ति तामसाः नान्यं गुणेभ्यः कर्तारं यदा द्रष्टानुपश्यति गुणेभ्यश्च परं वेत्ति मद्भावं सोऽधिगच्छति गुणानेतानतीत्यत्रीन् देही देहसमुद्भवान् जन्म मृत्युजरा दुःखैः विमुक्तो मृतमश्नुते.
So we have been studying about what happens. What he told us was what is tamas, what is rajas, what is sattva. Then he told us that one of the guna predominates. And when one of the guna predominates, what happens is, how do you recognize that this guna is predominating? Is what he is telling us now. So verse 11 told us, Sarva dvareshu dehesmin prakasha upajayati. Sarva dvare, Sarva dvare, in all the dwaras, in all the gates, deheshu, of the body, asmin dehe, okay? Prakasha upajayati. Light just streams forth. That brilliance streams forth. Knowledge streams forth from every gate of the body. What does that mean? What are the gates of the body? We have, broadly speaking, 4 types of gates of the body, which are four gates of the body? Trick question. If I said 5, then you would know which one I'm talking about. Now 4. What are the 4 gates? Okay, 4 gates are actions, perceptions, emotions, and thoughts. And the 4 ways that knowledge expresses itself through through the gates of the body, means through the personality. 4 ways it expresses. In terms of perceptions, what happens? In terms of perceptions, what happens is you become very observant. You're very sharp with your perceptions. You notice things that other people don't. Not only you notice them, you notice the significance of them. No, I noticed that a lot of times people see it, they know they have seen it, but they don't understand how significant or insignificant that thing is. And it's an interesting thing you will also see. There are times when you have seen the significance of something and you can't believe that people are not seeing how significant this is. How crucial it is, and sometimes how unimportant it is. It is a data point that you don't need to even consider. So you become extremely sharp when knowledge streams forth from the body. You notice it and you understand its relevance or non-relevance. So you begin to see things, hear things, smell things, taste things, touch things that other people do not. That's how knowledge expresses in terms of perceptions. You're able to analyze their relevance or irrelevance. In terms of possessions, there's another, in terms of perceptions, there's another word for perceptions. And that word is, what is the other word for perceptions?
Pratyaksha.
That's the Sanskrit.
Pratyaksha.
Yeah, that's correct. That's the Sanskrit word. But when we say perceptions in English, just another English word, philosophically, when we say perceptions, we could also use another word in English. And what's that word? You've done it millions of times.
Senses.
Sorry?
Cognition.
Cognition? Not really. I mean, cognition can be
Is it
intellect.
stimulus?
Yes, you
Stimulus?
could also say stimulus. What did you say, Bharat?
Senses.
Senses, yes, okay, you could say senses. But in terms of what it does, all these are okay, these words are fine. But the one important to us in context is enjoyments. The other word for perception is enjoyments. You could use these two interchangeably, because what are your enjoyments are your perceptions. And philosophically, you do know that enjoyment also refers to non-enjoyment. So if I run my nail on the glass, yeah, right? It has a sign, horrible feeling. That's your enjoyment. Enjoyment means your perception. So it could be positive, it could be negative, whichever one. So when you say, oh, my hair feels so soft, then that's a perception, enjoyment. This gulab jamun is so sweet or not sweet, or whatever you want to say. This karela is so bitter, right? So your perceptions are your enjoyments. Light streaming forth from your body means you are able to know which enjoyment is relevant to you at what time. There are some enjoyments that are relevant to us right now. There are some that are not. If your current job is education, studies, then there are certain enjoyments that are debarred to you. If your current job is grihastha, then you have other enjoyments. So each time, you have to know for yourself what is the enjoyment which is applicable to me now and what is not applicable to me. What I have to do and what I don't have to do. You will say, what enjoyment I have to do? Yes, there are some enjoyments you have to do. It's almost like you're supposed to do them. Like, for example, a child is supposed to play with toys. Can you imagine if the child says, oh, I'm an adult, I don't play with toys? Then when that child is 15 years old, they will start playing with toys because they were not able to do the right thing at the right time. So it's incredibly important that you know for yourself which perception is relevant for you and which is not, which enjoyment to take up and which not to. When knowledge streams forth from the body in terms of noticing, in stimulus in that sense, in terms of noticing, you become very observant and you understand relevance. In terms of enjoyments, I'm using these different words just because when we use the philosophical terms, sometimes their practical usage is not clear. So therefore, the use of different terms. Basically, they're all synonymous terms. So when in terms of enjoyments, that means I like it, I don't like it, whatever you're enjoying or not enjoying, you know which one to take, which one not to take, which one is for you, which one is not for you. Otherwise, it becomes like our friend who told us, our dear delights are often such, exposed to view but not to touch. The sight our foolish heart inflames, we long for pineapples in frames. Our dear delights are often such, exposed to view but not to touch. The sight our foolish heart inflames. Our foolish heart is inflamed by that sight. You see the new Mac, you see a new movie poster, a new Netflix serial, a new game. I understand nowadays these games are very popular. Do you all know these games that these people play? I don't know. I think I have to learn. Deepraj, you know these games that are, yeah? You teach me also one. I don't know. What is the new thing games? I have to understand what these things are. People are spending, it's become a mental health issue. There are people who get so involved in that game, whatever they're playing, they do not go to the washroom. They can't bear to be separated from their dear delight for 1 second. Go to the washroom and come. No, I can't go. I have to finish this game. So when knowledge streams forth, you know which enjoyment to take. At the moment, the enjoyment to take is go to the washroom. It's a great enjoyment if you are If you've not gone for a long time, then you'll understand it's a great enjoyment. Or for whatever reason, it stops happening. You realize it's a great enjoyment. So, GTA, you also know, Mamita. Please teach me GTA. What is GTA? I don't know. Oh, Game of Thrones. No, that would be GOT. What is GTA?
Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto. Okay. All right, Deepraj, Mamita, please teach me that. Arun, you know Grand Theft Auto? We'll both learn with this. Mahesh, you know Grand Theft Auto? Arey yaar, what are you people doing? We all have to learn. We are all too backward nowadays. We have to learn. So we will learn this, whatever Grand Theft Auto is. Grand Theft Auto. They're stealing cars, is it? What's the deal? Right.
All manners of criminal activity going on in that game.
Oh my God, only criminal activity. Very good. We are coming to Tamas right now. We will see. We need to know that game, then we will be able to see how beautifully it's fitting Tamas. So, at the moment, Sattva. So, Sattva, light streams forth from all the gates of the body. First gate of the body, perceptions. Perceptions can also be known as enjoyments. It's the same thing. Perceptions, enjoyment, same thing. But perceptions, we seem to think of it as we are, like something neutral. And enjoyment, we tend to think of it as something fun. But they're both the same philosophically. One of the things that happens when you study philosophy, and one of the great advantages of it, actually, which I don't think most people get, is that knowledge starts amalgamating. We don't have all these different bits and pieces of information, but it's like a giant jigsaw that comes into position. And you begin to see that when somebody's talking about X, it's exactly the same as Y. And that is why the need for knowledge decreases as you study the scriptures. You need to know much lesser stuff because you realize that this is basically a repetition of something already you have learned. And that's one of the great advantages of knowledge. And that particular aspect of knowledge doesn't seem to be spoken of at all in any discourse on knowledge. I don't know if you have ever realized that as you did your Vedanta studies, you felt that reading other things was becoming non-significant. Have you all ever experienced that? And you know why that is happening? Because they're only repeating in a lot more words a very simple thing. Like somebody gave me some time ago this book called Blink, which I read some of, so I cannot speak about it fully. But basically what it was saying was that in some cases, instantly you will gain knowledge, which we have already studied under the topic of intuition. Instant knowledge. Okay, what in Vedanta was like one line for us, digested knowledge is intuition. Ho gaya. He's written a whole book on it. Amazing thing it is. So like this, you don't need to read 1 billion books. You need to just get the concept once and for all. And then you realize, wow, this was the same as that. Right? So similarly here, coming back to our point, that when we say perceptions, we mean all stimuli and all reaction to that particular stimuli. So whether it is regulation of our enjoyments, whether it is relevance of a particular stimuli that we have just taken, means how significant it is towards whatever the picture is, all of this will come under the same broad umbrella. Knowledge combined with the organs of perception. All right? Then, now what happens when knowledge streams forth in actions? Actions become very effective. You know the difference they always talk about between efficiency and effectiveness. Efficiency means a task is to be done and you are able to perform that task. Efficiency means effectiveness means you know which task should be performed. You could do a task very efficiently which was not needed to be done in the first place. So that's what they say is the difference between a manager and a leader. The leader will get the task done. I mean, the manager gets the task done. The leader knows which task is to be done. Right? So you begin to recognize which actions need to be done and which actions need not to be done. Light combined with action means unselfishness, working for causes, working for goals, not random activity. Today I felt like doing X, I did X. Tomorrow I felt like doing Y, I did Y. And I say, okay, these are my priorities. Is there an umbrella for this whole thing? Is there something where the whole thing is being directed to something? That ability to make sense of our own actions. Why am I doing X? Why am I doing Y? Why am I doing Z? That the capacity to amalgamate it all and direct it towards one goal. Divorcing from all else. Separating from all else. Not like one day running in this direction, one day running in that direction. That capacity to go in one direction. When we have that, it is knowledge combined with action. And knowledge combined with action, so many things come, right? You become unselfish, you become cooperative, you have clear directions, you have clear goals, you know which task should be done, which task shouldn't be done. All the knowledge combined with the streaming forth in your action and the perfection of each action. And I notice people will send a 2-line WhatsApp message or something. There'll be 15 mistakes in it. Whatever you do, do perfectly. Or don't do it at all. Do it perfectly. So many mistakes. You write a letter, 15 mistakes. You send a WhatsApp message, another 25 mistakes. You pack a parcel or something. Nobody knows whether it is a ball or a box. It's so confusing what that packing is. Each thing, that dakshata, each thing done properly means that when will you be able to do anything with dakshata?
When you're not distracted with other things.
Very good, very good, Mahesh. Sixer, Mahesh, when your mind is entirely focused on the one task that you are currently doing. Your world begins and ends with that one task. Nothing else. Remember the famous example of Arjuna they taught us in school? All the other archers, Bhima came, Dronacharya told them, okay, shoot the eye of that bird. So then Yudhishthira said, what do you see? That I see the bird. He said, go away. Don't even bother to shoot. He called everybody else. Bhima also he called. Bhima said, I can see the bird, I can see the trees, I can see the clouds, I can see the whole world. He said, forget it. You don't shoot. You didn't allow them to shoot. Then Arjuna finally came. And Arjuna, what can you see? I can see just the eye of that bird. I don't see anything. Okay, we all learned this in school, but we never learned it. So they told us, oh, you must concentrate on your studies. We never learned anything. When our intellect works with our action, whilst doing the action, our whole world is only that action. That is why I tell you, please keep the video on during the class. Because out of dekha dekhi, at least, you are forced to pay attention. You know the whole world is looking at you. But then people are taking shortcuts, and then when they're doing something else, then they switch off the video. Okay, at least now we know that you're doing something else. So please keep your mind focused. If for even 1 hour we cannot maintain that, what should I say, that focus, what Vedanta are we doing really? And so when the intellect is directing the action, the only thing you know, for you at the moment, the only thing that exists is this class. Not the cooking, not the dishwashing, not the taking a call if it happens to come. No, nothing. Only one thing. And that is our training to ourselves. This whole idea of multitasking is just a very good name for the art of being distracted. That is all it is. One thing at a time. So when knowledge is with action, so many things get involved. So at the level of action, he put it in one word in the qualities of the bhakta. He said daksha. Daksha means you're prompt, you're alert, you are punctual, you are not. Anything you do perfectly. What a great quality. He said a bhakta has this quality. Have you ever seen any bhakta having this quality? If the bhakta keeps the room is a mess. If the bhakta puts up pictures of God, it's like, Are Bapre, what have you done? You go down, kyun bana rakha hai pictures ka? You know, they put up pictures all around. There's no aesthetics, there's no size, there is no, like, mila picture laga diya. Like, please, some sense in that, or no sense required. So, daksha, to be so good at everything you do. Even if you dress well. Whatever you do. Bhavna has combed her hair beautifully, right? Whatever you're doing, do it properly. Or don't do it at all. Why are you doing it? Everything well and perfectly done. What is this? Is daksha same as steadfastness? Deepa, no, daksha is different from steadfastness. Daksha is your capacity to do each action properly. Steadfastness is your capacity to direct each action to the chosen goal. A person is capable of maybe doing each action perfectly, but they're not all directed towards something. Steadfastness or consistency means every action is going towards a particular goal. So if you're painting for the self. If you're attending class, you're attending for the self. If you're chatting with Chubby, it's because you're reaching the self. You're thinking about this, your son, because it will help you reach the self. Everything.
Yeah, thank you.
Janki ji,
Yeah.
a sattvic person can be agitated.
A sattvic person can be agitated. Yes, a sattvic person can be agitated.
And okay, and one more thing, suppose two sattvic people are there. They are playing some game. Both are expert. Who will win? Who will win?
Milind, two sattvic people means how much sattva do they both have? You can have 10%, 20%, 80%, 100%. So first you will have to define how much sattva each one has. Then second thing is skill. Who has the greater skill?
Both are same. Suppose both have same skill.
Both are same skill, then the one with greater sattva.
That matters.
Always, because sattva is the intellect. Whoever has the greater intellect wins.
I thought both are, suppose they are not agitated, then match will be draw.
Yeah, I mean, if their sattva is same, their circumstances are same, their skill is same, if you make everything same, then of course it will be draw.
Okay.
You
Thank
can't really make comparisons like that. It's more productive to make comparisons of the same person. So let us say Arjuna has a certain skill and his sattva is 10%. Then what happens to this person with this skill when his sattva becomes 30%? That is a better or a more productive comparison to make.
Yeah.
Bharat also thinks it will be never ending. Never ending. Okay, so he also basically thinks it's a draw. Deep Raj. They will decide by rock, paper, scissors. Oh, okay, today is the game class, is it? All about games today. I know rock, paper, scissors. It's an old game. So, you people know rock, paper, scissors? Jayashree, you know rock, paper, scissors? Mahesh, you know rock, paper, scissors? Okay, see, we already know these games. Yeah, okay.
Jagdish, I have a question.
Bolo.
How does one know whether something is being done as a result of being taksha versus coming out of an OCD? That's
Who is to know that? The individual themselves?
yes.
Or
The
the
second is a
individual
normal.
themselves knows it. The second is?
The second is that whether it's a taksha or OCD, it often creates agitation in the person who's supposedly a daksha and also in the other people, because a daksha person kind of becomes intolerant to any tardiness or something like that. It agitates the person, and the other person feels that this person is an OCD patient.
Okay, now I have to be careful. Let me see who all are in class. I have to first check that before these people ask questions and I answer. I don't think Sheetal is there, so okay, I can answer safely today. Whether it is OCD or not, whether it is sattva or not, is determined by the same thing. And that one thing is called
Intellect.
Use of the intellect.
Kya hua is class ko?
Intellect.
Very good. It's known as the intellect. Who has an intellect? Who has an intellect? Please don't be quiet. Who has an intellect?
Who
Mahesh,
knows
you
they
said
have
something?
intellect?
Sattvic
Who is
person,
putting?
Sattvic person has higher intellect.
Nanditi's screen is frozen. Is it for me only?
So both of these, whether OCD or sattva, is determined by
Intellect.
Now, who has an intellect? One
Who
word.
is put?
One word you'd say. One word. Don't confuse me with too many words. Just give me one word. Who has an intellect?
Sattvic person.
Very good. At least one person has been listening all along. Very good, Shilpa. Today class is paying attention. I don't know what is happening.
I answered, Janki ji, your screen was frozen.
Oh, okay. What did you answer?
Me too. Me too.
Me too. First, we all answered first.
Oh, very good. That is superb.
I said Sattvic person has a higher intellect.
Very good. Perfect. But you have to only say one word because otherwise you say too many words and then I get confused. One, Sat. Who has an intellect? And Sattvic have an intellect. It's simple life. Right. So, who can tell?
Just one clarification. You can have a rajasic intellect. I mean, in chapter 18, he defines Rajasic intellect, Tamasic intellect. So is that also possible that the other two gunas also have intellect?
When we say that this is healthy spinach, this is diseased spinach, and this is rotten spinach, what are you trying to say? Are you trying to say that the other two are also spinach? Or are you trying to say that the other two are not spinach?
They are spinach, right?
But if you look at
Unfortunately,
yeah, but
they're not.
when you're recommending for food, when you say this is rotten spinach or this is diseased spinach, then the idea is you don't deal with these two. That's the idea. By saying it is a Rajasic intellect or Tamasic intellect, the meaning is it is not an intellect worthy of being called an intellect. It will not do the job it's supposed to do. Same for everything else. An action which is Rajasic or Tamasic will not do the job it's supposed to. Consistency, if it's Rajasic or Tamasic, it will not do the job it's supposed to. It's diseased or it's rotten, one of the two of them. So coming back, what Milind? No, who, where were we? Yeah. So Omkar, sorry. Omkar, so when we have OCD, it is the absence of the intellect. When we have Sattva, it is the presence of the intellect. When the Sattva is present and that kind of dakshata is done, since it will be in the service of the other person will have to be pleased with it. Because Sattvic people don't see only one thing, they see the entire scenario. So let us say, for instance, you are a daksha with reference to something, X, Y, or Z. Let's say, what are you a daksha with reference to, Omkar?
Cleanliness in the house.
Any mess in the house. So then, as a Sattvic person, you will say, you guys, I am good at this job. I will do this job. You guys do the job you are good at. So you use that ability that you have to be of service to others. Therefore, your ability will not be of irritation to others. It will be a service to others, and therefore they'll be very happy with it. For example, as you know, FTS makes very good tea. So anybody who comes into this house, who is in charge of making them tea? Right? He uses his ability to, and everybody comes. I don't know whether to say yes or not. No, when he says, shall I make you some tea? They're almost perplexed what to say to him. So, and they know if he makes the tea, then the tea is going to be good. So with great reticence, they say, yes, please, I'll have one cup. Before having, I'll have. So his ability to make tea is not irritating anyone, especially not his wife. Because if he has that ability to make tea and tells his wife, go make the tea, then that might irritate her, because then he will say, this tea is not up to the mark. But if he does it himself, everybody is delighted with him, right? Because
Yes.
it's his ability. He knows how to do this well. So he does it. So why would any ability of ours be of irritation to anyone else? Our disabilities are usually an irritation to others, and that's quite understandable. See, suppose somebody is very good at making money, then we will all be delighted with that person. If that person
Donate us to the university.
yes, if he has a sharing attitude towards people. If he doesn't have a sharing attitude towards people, then they say, see, he thinks he's very great because he makes so much money. So whenever we are sharing our abilities, everybody is happy with us. Sattvic people are a daksha, and that dakshata is for other people. So where is the problem? Okay, Omkar?
Yeah, I got that part, but what I have not understood is that, let's say one person is very, very methodical and the other person is very tardy. The person who is methodical finds irritation in the tardiness, and the tardy person. The tardy person feels the methodical person to be very irritating, because I mean, there is a friction.
Yes, that's what I'm telling you. How that friction is removed is by each one using their ability to serve the other. Okay, I'll give you another example. Swamiji is very methodical,
Yes.
right? Now, there was a lady, very dear lady, I'm not going to mention her name, but she was very sweet and very devoted to him. And of course, a student of his, one of his oldest students. She was, oh my God, the height of forgetfulness. But otherwise, a great person. And poor thing, she's now passed away, as you can imagine, because he himself is 96 and I think she was older than him. And no, 97 years now, right? And I mean, completely, she was like 100% devoted to him, okay? So completely trustworthy. So the keys of his flat had to at some times be left behind in Mumbai when he went to the ashram or something like that. And as you know, the flat is important, all the documents, everything is in there. So it functioned as the office. So the key was left with her, right? Now, if you have known anything about Swamiji, you know how perfect he is about all things. I mean, incredibly perfect, right? So there is nothing. You go to his desk, you see his desk. When he puts his pen down, also, he put it down in the right place. It's so perfect about everything. Like literally everything. It's exhausting being with him because how can you be so perfect like that? So he's perfect about everything. She is less than perfect, let us say. Right? So she should be irritated with him, he should be irritated with her, but neither are irritated with each other because he knows how to deal with it. So what he does is, I'm telling you, she's his oldest student, most devoted to him. So her instructions were, when you close the door to the house and you're walking to the lift, walk back and check the door again. And do this twice. And because she's devoted, she did it. So therefore, in spite of her great absent-mindedness, the key was never left in the lock, the door was never left open, nothing ever went wrong. So he knows how to deal with it. She doesn't have the capacity to be perfect. That's not her ability. But she does have another capacity, which is her capacity to be devoted. She was amazing devotion. I mean, would you do that, as Swamiji told you, each and every time you close the door, you have to go back, go to the thing, go back. And she did it each and every time. So the door was never left. So when you have sattva, you're not only very good at dealing with that object, whatever it is, wherever the dakshata is, you know how to deal with others. Otherwise, the sattvic person will get a heart attack because the ability of that person to see more than us will be so much. We'll have driven that person to insanity. But that doesn't happen, right?
Yes, got it. Thank you.
Mamita?
So the person who is very good at something, has an ability in one thing, he, supposing we become conscious of that ability, that is when we tend to annoy others. Is it? Like, I feel very good about my capability in this area, and somehow in my speech and all, it comes about.
No, not because we know it. It is because it's not used in their interest. Irritation is a very simple thing. Irritation takes place because you are interrupting my desire, I get irritated. Life is very simple as far as irritation goes. So if my ability is interrupting your desire in some way, then that will cause you irritation. If I use my ability to serve you, so that's not interrupting your desire. So it won't irritate you.
No, but sometimes, like, supposing I am with someone who's very finicky about keeping a place clean, very orderly, then while this person is doing the tasks and not expecting me to do them, they can also keep saying that, oh, I did this. Like, supposing I say that, why I left this here, why did you take it? Why did you not leave it there? They will say, no, no, but I'm like this, so I'm doing this. So they don't understand your perspective.
Yeah, so they're interrupting your desire. So if they could help you do it better. Okay, another example. I keep a bunch of pens and tables on my desk. Everybody knows it's there. So the staff, when they need to write, they need a pen. They will come to my table, take it, and never return it. So therefore, I say, look, here are 2-3 pens for you. Actually, not 2-3. I give them one. Here is one pen for you. Here is some paper for you. I'm keeping it in the place which is the most convenient, which is in the kitchen. So you don't have to come all the way to. I don't make all this explanation. I just leave it there. So it is so convenient for them to take it from there that they don't think of walking all the way to my study to take those pens. Right? Because it serves their purposes. So whenever we do anything that serves their purposes, there is no problem with that. So suppose now your mother says, how can you keep it so unclean? Now she's not serving your purposes because I'll keep it where I like. Who are you to tell me? Right? So, but if she says something like, I'm keeping this here for you, so you'll find it more convenient to use and whatever, then that serves your purposes. So it's easier done. So a sattvic person actually knows what to say to the other person that makes sense to that person.
But the rest of us, we are good at something, but we are also very attached to being good at that thing and sort of not listening to the other person's needs when our need to accomplish that. Like, I want this house clean. So no matter how many times you tell me that I need to leave this jacket here, don't take it. I will, instead of giving an option, I will say no, but you should not be leaving the jacket here.
Yeah, so that's not, so we are discussing when sattva streams forth, no? If you're doing it wrong, then you will get resistance from the world. What else will happen?
No, I was talking about how it looks like a good ability for me, but that good ability becomes an attachment to me. So then that is daksha mixed with.
That is not completely daksha because you're not doing the whole job right. That is Omkar's point, right? Okay, I want it clean, then clean it. No, but now you're saying, oh, but that person objects to my cleaning it. So make your cleaning such that it is in his interest. Otherwise, he'll grumble, like FTS grumbles. Because, my mom taught me that you have to move furniture in the house so that every part gets nicely clean. Like you move the arrangement. So Farokh tells everybody who comes to our house, every day I come, I have to find where my cupboard is, he says. Find where my cupboard is. But over a period of time, now he has also got used to the fact that the house is clean. Tells me, find where my cupboard. And he has a steel cupboard. Am I going to be shifting that? So you recognize what people are saying, right? He says, find where my shirt is, I can understand. He has to find where his cupboard is. That is his claim. So thoda sa nokchot hota hi hai. That also the sattvic will understand. Now no two people are going to have exactly the same likes and dislikes, same desires. So thoda so yahan somebody's going to say this, somebody's going to say that. As my bhabhi used to say when my nephew was young, IGNORE. Every time he did something, IGNORE. Till he grew up a little bit, he understood what IGNORE meant. And her granddaughter is even better. She starts, what suppose you say IGNORE, she will also start saying IGNORE. These kids are over smart nowadays, I tell you. If you spell anything in front of them, not only they get it, they use the word also like that. So,
I have not heard that.
sorry?
I have not heard that. What is that?
IGNORE.
Yeah.
IGNORE. Ignore.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a short form for something.
No, just ignore. Don't. I mean, sort of don't give attention to what the child is doing. When the child finds that you're not paying him attention, when he does that, he usually stops doing it because they're all, they do it to get your attention. So sometimes you just ignore it and then you give attention somewhere else. I mean, you divert this thing. So IGNORE. But they're so smart nowadays. They get what IGNORE means and then they say it to you also. But I'm IGNORing. Okay. Grandkids, yes. I don't have grandkids, but my brother has, and I get to hear all the stories. So, oh, you okay, Momita? All these various stories of family life.
Yes, Shankiti. Actually, this is very relevant because we have conflicts over these small issues only with people, with friends, with relatives. It's like, I do this well, but you never appreciate it. Or why can't you just, listen to the way I do things and you also do this? They are small things. But yeah,
that's
so this is
one
very
problem.
helpful.
Really, when I was marrying FTS, one of the things that somebody said to me, or people generally thought, is, I am Hindu, he is Parsi. Okay, and oh my God, Hindu, Parsi, of course. But frankly, in the last as many years as we have been married, we have never once fought over Hinduism and Zoroastrianism. We can fight about whether the window should be open or closed, whether this food should be eaten or not eaten. Whoever fights about, like, who sits down and discusses, like, oh, your God, oh my God, like, oh, like, so it's always the small things that are that form the issues, not all these big questions of life. And if we can't handle the small issues, that means we're not able to take the knowledge, the great knowledge we are getting, and convert it to the daily. And that's probably one of the biggest problems in spirituality today. That, we want to learn about the big thing, and rightly so as human beings, but we have to take that down to us. It has to become applicable to us. We sort of leave it as a sort of stratosphere above our head. So we stay where we are. So you're right, you have to take all the principles and work them down. Okay, now is this something that is relevant and I should take notice about? Or is it something not relevant and IGNORE? What should I do over here? I have to figure all this out. And to help you figure all this out, you have one tool, one thing given to you, one instruction given to you, let's say. What is that instruction?
Use your intellect.
Well, if you don't have one, how will you use one? So what's the instruction given to you? You thought you'll get away with that, Deepraj. Nope.
Serving. Are you serving?
Okay, you can get into trouble by serving as well.
Morning study.
Ah, Bharat, very good.
Okay, yeah, at last, yes.
Yes, long time you haven't heard it. Morning study, that is a non-negotiable. because that is the only thing we're doing in the whole day to develop our intellect. And Bharat is getting the answer right. I hope that means that studies are also going on every morning without fail, come hail or high water. That is one thing that cannot be. Sometimes it will happen. Like tomorrow morning, I had to give my time away. Happens sometimes. You know what's happening tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock, right? There's a talk in the US. Okay, once in a while, it's okay. But it has to be at least 98, 99% of it. This is not a negotiable. So when we do that, we're constantly doing that, the sattva rises, intellect rises, and we know how to handle each aspect. Okay, so when light streams from all the gates of the body, the knowledge expresses itself in perceptions and actions, in emotions. What kind of emotions do we have? Do we have selfish, self-centered, agitating emotions? Are our emotions such that when we feel the emotions, we feel happy with those emotions? Light is streaming forth from all the gates of the body. If always my emotion has always been for your well-being, how can that emotion agitate me? Just the purity of it keeps the cheer in that person's heart forever. So,
Janki,
yeah.
have you ever met a person of that kind? Even Swamiji isn't like that. I mean, in a sense, he's quite, when it comes to students, he's quite firm and, sort of. I mean, this ideal person that is being described, is there such a person?
I don't know, Mahesh, whether such a person exists or not. But you need to know whether you want to be that kind of person.
Right, of course. But I mean, it just seems so difficult. I mean, the sense to be always serving, to be always cheerful, to be always looking at the other, and it just seems like such a difficult thing. But that's fine.
It is difficult. Now, what to do? But once you reach there, you will realize that the other was even more difficult. What we are currently doing is more difficult. Being agitated, being unhappy, solving problems, making all sorts of nonsense actions, and then having to deal with the consequence of those actions. For a person who has sorted themselves out, this other life looks more difficult. Just look at it in comparison to people who are, your finances are sorted. Look at people whose finances are not sorted. But for you to have your finances sorted, what discipline and consistency you've gone through, right? You haven't just done it overnight. You have been consistent in your savings, you've been consistent in your investments. You did all that, and now you are fine. Health also, every aspect. So the more we live like this, the better for us, the easier for us. And now, do other people live like this? Not my job. But of course, we have studied only yesterday. One ought not to judge sages and saints from how you see them act. Yes, it is true, Swamiji will finish us off and really finish you off. Not like lightly. Until you burst out into tears, he may not stop. Now, is that in your welfare, not in your welfare? Was it done for your welfare? Was it not done in your welfare? We don't know. But this we do know, that it will be so simple. Should we live like this? We have not confused relationships. We have not confused finances. We have not confused health. We have not done all these three things. That doesn't mean you won't get ailments, but having got them also, your head is still above surface of water. Worth trying, no, Mahesh? I don't know whether you will make it or not.
Proper morning study.
Got to do that one. Momita?
Yeah, I was also coming to that. I mean, even if someone is like that, it's not like we can make out because that's their internal state. And only they will know how cheerful and happy and consistent they are. And as far as Swamiji is concerned, like I've not met him, and I'm sure I would be terrified if he was showing me out too, from what I've heard about him from others. But the way he describes his students' really difficult situations with such humor, and how it took them years to overcome their tendencies, their like one person's the morbidity where he could not even open the door of his house without imagining the worst thing having happened to his family. How humorously he explained it, and how after 10 years this person actually recovered. So it's brilliant, actually.
Yes. We have been fortunate. Don't know what we did, but we have been fortunate. So light, I thought I'll just do little 11 and then we do 12 and 13, but didn't quite work that way as usual. So tattva, as we did all this light from all the gates of the body, we did actions, we did perceptions, we were